The marketplace on Corback Station was always loud, full of voices, smells, and strange colors. Ships landed and took off every minute, and traders shouted prices for food, tech, and things from faraway planets. No one noticed the little alien girl standing in the middle of the crowd. She was small, skinny, with soft gray skin and big green eyes. Her clothes were torn, and her feet were bare. In her hands, she held a shaking sign written in several languages. "My mom is dying, please. Help." But the crowd didn't stop. Some ignored her, others looked away. A few even laughed. A drunk alien tossed a piece of old bread at her feet and walked away. A group of armored guards passed by, not even glancing down. The girl stood still, her arms shaking, lips dry, but her voice kept calling, "Please, someone. Help! Please! I just need one person." Then a human soldier stopped. He wasn't wearing armor anymore, just old cargo pants and a brown jacket. His face had scars, his hair was short, and his eyes sharp blue were watching the girl closely. His name was Carter, and he didn't walk away. He stepped forward slowly, kneeling in front of the girl. "What's your name?" he asked in a calm voice. "Nari," she whispered, her voice dry and weak. Carter looked around. "Kept walking?" He frowned. "Nari, where's your mom?" he asked. The little girl pointed toward a narrow path between the buildings. "She's hiding. She can't move. Please come quick." Nari begged. Carter looked at her, then at the crowd, then back at her eyes. Something inside him moved. He didn't know what, but he knew this girl was telling the truth. "All right, show me," he said. Nari turned and ran through the crowd, looking back to make sure Carter followed. He stayed close, moving fast. Deeper they went, the louder the outside noise faded. Soon, they were in a quiet, broken part of the station. Rusted metal walls, flickering lights, trash piles, and the smell of old fuel filled the air. Nari stopped near a broken door hanging. From its frame, "She's inside," she said. Carter pushed the door open. Inside, it was dark and cold. A single blanket lay on the floor, and under it, a figure. Carter stepped closer and saw the alien woman, her face pale, her body shaking. She looked like Nari, same gray skin, same big green eyes, but older, thinner. And weaker, she was barely breathing. Carter dropped to his knees beside her. "What happened to her?" he asked. "She got sick," Nari said. "And the medicine man said she's not worth saving. He told us to leave. No one would help." Carter touched the woman's forehead. It was burning. Her breathing was slow, and her arms had strange dark lines under the skin, like poison running through her veins. He opened a small kit from his belt and pulled out a scanner. The device beeped softly and showed red warnings. Infection, system, failure, organ damage. This wasn't just sickness, something had been done to her. Carter looked up. "Someone hurt her." Nari nodded. "They chased us. They didn't want her to speak." Carter's eyes narrowed. "Why?" "She used to work for them," Nari said. "She made something. Then she found out they would use it to hurt others, so she ran." Carter understood. It wasn't just about a sick mother. This woman was in danger, and so was Nari. He gave her a small dose of medicine from his pack. It would keep her stable, but only for a short time. "We need to move her," he said. "We won't survive in this place." "But where can we go?" Nari asked. Carter looked around. He had seen this kind of setup before, someone hiding from power, hunted by silence. He had once been a soldier who helped people escape places like this. That job was over now, but maybe, just this once, he could do it again. He lifted the alien woman gently, wrapping her in the blanket. She was light, too light. "Do you have a name for her?" he asked as he stood. "Lyra," Nari said softly. Carter nodded. "All right, Nari, we're getting her out of here." As they stepped outside, Carter saw a movement at the corner of his. Red light flashing for a second on a rooftop, then gone. Someone had noticed them. He didn't stop walking, just moved faster. He knew this wasn't going to be easy. But something about the little girl's eyes, and the way she kept holding her mother's hand, made him feel something he hadn't felt in years. He wouldn't leave them behind. Not now. Not ever. Carter moved fast through the narrow alleys, holding Lyra tightly in his arms. Nari stayed close, her small feet barely keeping up, but she didn't complain. The shadows grew thicker, and the lights above them flickered like dying stars. Behind them, the world still laughed and traded, but here, danger crawled in silence. They passed broken doors, silent vents, in long-forgotten corners of the station where no patrols ever came. Carter knew where to go. Long ago, during a mission, he had used a secret shelter here. If it was still untouched, they might have a chance. How far? Nari asked softly. Not far, Carter answered. Just stay close, and don't look back. Nari nodded. They reached an old service shaft hidden behind stacked crates. Carter moved the crates with one hand, still cradling Leora in the other. He kicked open the rusted panel, revealing a dark tunnel behind it. Inside, he said, Nar crawled in first. Carter followed, sealing the panel behind them. The tunnel was tight and dusty. Pipes lined the walls, and the air was warm and dry. They crawled for a few minutes, until Carter reached the hidden door, a square metal hatch. He entered a code one he hadn't used in years. It still worked. The door slid open slowly, revealing a small room with metal walls, an old cot, a sink, and a box of supplies. It smelled like oil and time, but it was safe. They were inside. Carter laid Leora on the cot and turned on the weak overhead light. Her chest moved slowly, her skin still pale. He knelt beside her, pulled out his scanner again, and frowned. She's fading. He said. Nari stood beside him, eyes full of fear. Can't. You fix her? I'm trying, he said. He opened his med kit again. He injected a stabilizer into Lyra's arm, then gave her oxygen through a mask. He added nutrient fluid to keep her strength up. The scanner beeped against, critical, but no longer. Falling? She has a chance now, Carter said. Nara let out a small breath. Her hands shaking, Carter looked at her. You've done well, Nari. You didn't give up. I couldn't, she said. She's all I have. Carter stood and walked to the corner. He opened the supply box, checking for old tools. He found a signal blocker and activated it, cutting off any trackers nearby. Then he set up a motion sensor near the entrance. They were hidden for now. Carter looked at Liara again. He remembered her name Naud, just from Nari's mouth, but from old news reports. Dr. Lyra V's, a respected alien scientist, vanished 2 years ago after warning the council about a secret weapon. Everyone thought she was dead, but she wasn't. She had been running. Why did they do this to her? Carter asked. Nar looked down. She made something called the Hollow Code. It was meant to protect planets. But they changed it. She found out too late. When she tried to stop them, they called her a traitor. Who's they? The Varn Syndicate, Nari said. They want the code. They want her mind. They don't care if she lives or dies. Carter clenched. His jaw. He'd fought against the Varn Syndicate before. A group of warlords who controlled tech through fear, silence, and force. If they were hunting Leora, and danger wasn't just near it, was already watching. He stood and checked the vent. We'll stay here tonight, he said. Tomorrow, I'll find a way to get her to someone who can help. Nari nodded, wiping her eyes as Carter turned off the light. A red beam flickered again, this time outside the sealed tunnel. Silent, watching back in the open city. A masked figure stood on a rooftop scanning the air. A small drone floated beside him, receiving signals from the area. She's alive, he muttered, and the human took her. He sent a message to someone far away. Target confirmed. Human interference detected. Orders? The reply came. Quickly, kill the human. Bring the woman alive. Inside the shelter, Carter sat against the wall, rifle beside him. He watched Liara sleep and listened to Nira's quiet breathing. He didn't know why he had stepped in. He didn't know why. This girl mattered so much. But he did know one thing: he would protect them now, even if it cost him everything. Carter didn't sleep that night. He sat against the cold wall, his rifle across his lap, eyes fixed on the silent entrance of the hidden shelter. Nari had curled up beside her mother, sleeping in a tight ball. Lyra's breathing was slow, but steady now. But Carter's instinct screamed something was wrong. The sensor he placed near the hatch blinked once, no sound. Just a flash of red. He stood up fast and aimed his rifle. Nothing moved. He waited, counting the seconds in his head. Then he heard a faint hum. A drone. He cursed under his breath, opened the vent quietly and peeked through. Just outside, a small black sphere floated in the shadows, scanning the air they had been found. Carter ducked back in, heart pounding. These weren't street thugs. They were professionals. The kind who left no witnesses. He had seen these drones on the battlefield before. Varn Syndicate technologists, silent, fast, deadly. He turned to Nari. "Wake up," he said in a low voice. Her eyes opened quickly. "What's wrong?" "They're here," he said. "We need to move." Nari's face went pale. "I'll carry her." Within seconds, Carter had packed up what little gear he had, wrapped Liara in the blanket again, and opened the emergency exit tunnel, one that hadn't been used in years. As they climbed into the dark, Carter activated a jamming beacon to blind the drone for a few seconds. It would buy them just enough time. He carried Liara on his back, one hand on the ladder, the other holding his gun. Nari followed closely. They climbed through silence above them. In a small command room across the market sector, two masked figures watched the drone's signal fade. "He jammed us," one said. The other didn't speak. He pressed a button on the console. A row of black-armored hunters began to move through the lower corridors. No noise, no light. Just silent boots heading toward the shelter. Carter burst out of a side tunnel. In the abandoned station zone, breathing hard. They were near the old transport rails, unused and forgotten by most. He helped Nari up, then looked around. "No one's here yet," he said, more to himself than her. "Where will we go now?" Nari asked. "I know someone," he replied. "He owes me a favor. Will he help us? He doesn't like me, but he hates the Varn more." He placed Lyra down carefully and opened a small datapad. He tapped into old encryption codes and sent a short message. Location ping, one word only. Urgent. He turned to Nari. "We wait 5 minutes. If he doesn't answer, we move again." "Why are they trying so hard to take her?" she asked. Carter hesitated. "Because your mother holds something they fear," he said. "Something powerful." Nari looked confused. "She's not a fighter. She doesn't have to be. She's smart. She knows how to break the hollow code." Narice's eyes widened. "You know about the code?" "Saw what it did," Carter said. "No one lived. My mom said it was never meant to be a weapon." "I believe her," Carter replied. The datapad buzzed. "Location received. Secure hangar, Dock 17. Carter smiled. He answered. Just then, a light snapped on in the tunnel. Behind them, voices echoed, cold, sharp, speaking in a language meant for war. "They found us," Carter said. He grabbed Lyra again. "Run." They sprinted through the service corridor, Carter's boots thudding hard on the metal. Nari ran beside him, holding her mother's scarf tight in her hands. The lights above them flickered as power pulsed through the system. Gunfire rang out behind them, quiet, sharp, deadly. A plasma bolt hit the wall near Carter's shoulder. He turned, fired 2 quick shots with his rifle, and ducked into another hallway. "We're almost there," he said, at the far end of the hall. The door to Dock 17 opened. A man stood in the doorway, tall, rough, with cybernetic eyes and a crooked grin. "You always bring trouble, Carter," he said. "And you always have a ship," Carter replied. The man stepped aside. "Get in." They rushed through. The door closed behind them just as more shots struck it. Inside the hangar stood a medium-sized freighter, old, ugly but fast. Lyra was fading again. "Help her!" Nari cried. "I'll take the controls," the pilot said. "Shh, you handle the rest." Carter laid Liora on a bench and strapped her in. He looked at Nari. "I need you to stay strong, just a little longer." "I will," she said. As the ship lifted into space, Carter stared out the window. Below them, Korvax Station was shrinking, but he knew the hunt had only just begun. "They want her dead," he said quietly, "but they'll have to get through me first." The freighter shook violently as it entered the upper atmosphere. Warning lights blinked red across the control panels, and the engine screamed under stress. Carter strapped himself in beside Nari and held tight to the edge of the seat. "She's flying rough," he said. The pilot grinned through his cracked visor. "That's because she's old, angry, and hates running, but she'll fly." Carter glanced back at Lyra, who lay unconscious under a thick blanket. Her skin looked worse. The dark lines on her arms had spread. Her breathing was shallow. "How long until we reach the outer ring?" Carter asked. 10 minutes, the pilot said. "But we've got a problem." "Course we do," Carter muttered. The pilot turned the screen toward him. A series of red dots blinked into viewships, fast and armed. "Chasing them from behind. Syndicate patrols," the pilot said. "Looks like they knew where we were going." "They're not." "Giving up?" Carter said. "Nay," I clutched her mother's hand, looking from the window to the screen. "Will they catch us?" "Not if I blow the route," the pilot smirked. Carter's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, blow the route?" The pilot flicked a switch and opened a hidden panel on the console. "I never said this ship was just for smuggling. I rigged the tunnels with mines years ago in case I ever had to run." "You always think ahead," Carter said. "Only when I know who's chasing me." The pilot replied. Carter looked out the back window. One of the syndicate ships was closing fast, its weapons glowing. "Get ready," the pilot shouted. In the space behind them, the narrow escape tunnel lit up with chasing fire. The syndicate ships entered, their pilots confident, their weapons locked. They didn't expect what came next. The mines detonated. The tunnel exploded in a wave of light and fire. One ship vanished instantly. Another spun out of control and crashed into the wall, its metal body torn apart. The blast rocked the freighter, knocking Carter to the floor. Nari screamed as sparks fell from the ceiling. Lyra rolled slightly, groaning faintly, but they were still flying. Carter stood up, shaking. "Everyone okay?" Nari nodded, eyes wide. "That was so loud." The pilot laughed. "Loud means alive. We're clear for now." Carter rushed to Lyra's side. He checked her pulse, scanned her vitals. The numbers were falling again. "She's slipping," he said. "I know a place," the pilot said. "It's a medical outpost, deep in the asteroid field. But it's unregistered. No questions asked." Carter looked at him. "Is it safe?" "It's better than dying in the cold," the pilot said. Carter sighed. "Then take us there." As the freighter turned toward the asteroid field, the stars outside the window blurred into long streaks of light. The syndicate ships didn't follow. Not yet. Inside, the ship was quiet. Only the soft hum of the engine remained. Carter sat beside Lyra, holding her wrist, feeling her weak pulse. Nari sat across from him, watching with wide, tired eyes. "Is she going to make it?" He asked. "I don't know," Carter said honestly. Lyra lowered her head. "She always helped others, even when we had nothing." Carter nodded slowly. "And now, she needs someone to help her." He looked at Nari, really looked at her. "You're brave," he said. She didn't smile. "I'm scared, but brave." "Doesn't mean not being scared," Carter said. "It means standing anyway." The girl looked at him, then reached for his hand. Her small fingers gripped tightly. "I don't want to lose her," she whispered. "You won't," he promised. But in his heart, he wasn't sure. The freighter arrived at the asteroid outpost 2 hours later. It was hidden behind a giant hollow rock, its lights invisible from normal scans. The base looked like a broken satellite, half floating, half buried in stone. They docked in silence. As Carter lifted Lyra once more, 2 masked medics met them. "At the airlock." "She needs treatment now," Carter said. "Cross-species care. Do you have the tech?" "We have what she needs," one medic replied. "But you need to understand, if her system fails, we can't stop it." Carter nodded. "Just try." The medics rushed her inside. Carter and Nari followed. But they were stopped at the door. "She needs full isolation," the medic said. "We'll call you if she stabilizes." Carter didn't argue. He led Nari to a nearby bench and sat down. 4. The first time in hours, there was nothing to do but wait. Nari leaned against him. Silent. Carter stared at the locked door, fists clenched. He had come this far, burned every route behind him, and now, he could only hope the next one didn't. Burn too. The room was silent, except for the faint beeping of machines behind the glass wall. Carter sat beside Nari on a cold metal bench, his eyes fixed on Lyra's pale body inside the medical pod. Tubes ran through her arms, her chest moved only slightly, and blue lights pulsed across the ceiling. "She's fighting," Carter said quietly. Nari didn't respond. Her head leaned against his shoulder, her eyes puffy from crying. She had stayed awake the whole time, whispering words to her mother through the glass. Like her voice could reach her, a soft chime echoed, a tall alien woman in a white medical coat stepped into the room. "She's stable for now," the doctor said, "but what's inside her? It's not just infection, it's something artificial." Carter stood. "Explain." She was poisoned, but not in the usual way. A device small, hidden under her skin, was releasing chemicals into her bloodstream. A slow killer. Nari gasped. "They did this to her?" The doctor nodded. "It's designed to kill her and destroy any data in her cells." Carter's voice dropped. "Data?" "She has a neural implant. Deep in her brain, military grade. I believe it holds something encrypted, maybe knowledge, maybe a program." Carter stared through the glass. "That's why they want her dead." Hours later, Leora finally opened her eyes. The medics had removed the device. Her skin looked better, her breathing was stronger. Carter and Nari entered the room slowly, standing beside the bed. "Mama," Nari whispered, reaching out. Lyra's hand moved slowly, touching her daughter's cheek. "You're safe," she breathed. Carter stepped closer. "You're lucky we found help." Lyra turned her eyes to him.
"You're the one who stopped."
"I couldn't walk away," Carter said. She tried to sit up, but the machines beeped, warning her to stay still. "I don't have much time," Leora said. "You're recovering," Carter said. "You'll be fine." She shook her head. "The data inside me is waking up. The hollow code, it's changing." Carter froze. "Changing how?" Lyra looked at him. "It's adapting." It wasn't just a weapon. It's a virus for machines. If the Syndicate gets it, they can take over every system connected to a galactic network. Nara's eyes went wide. "Control the stars." Lyra nodded slowly. "I designed it as a shield, a way to protect colonies from outside hacking, but they corrupted it. Now it can shut down cities, control fleets, erase history." Carter stepped back. "If it's still inside you, how do we stop it?" Lyra whispered. "The only way is to transfer it to someone who can survive the upload and choose to destroy it." She looked at Carter. "No," he said quickly. "Not me." "You're strong enough," she replied. "And if I die, it'll activate by itself. It needs a host, or it spreads." Carter ran a hand through his hair. "You're asking me to carry something that could destroy the galaxy?" "I'm asking you to carry something that could save it," she said. He looked down at Nari. She held her mother's hand tighter, her lips trembling. "If you die, I'll be alone again," she said. Carter knelt beside her. "You won't be." Lyra's voice was calm now. "You don't have long. The Syndicate knows I'm alive. They'll find this place." Carter stood up, jaw tight. "Then let's finish this before they do." Later in the medical lab, Carter lay on a table beside Leora. Wires connected them both. Lights blinked as the transfer began. Pain shot through his head. He gritted his teeth, eyes wide, as the data flooded into his mind. He saw flashes, maps, codes, security systems, weapons, fleets, secrets buried in darkness. The hollow code was alive. It spoke in numbers, whispered in logic, tried to take control, but Carter held on. His will was stronger, and slowly it stopped fighting. The transfer ended. Lyra's body went limp, her face peaceful. The machines went silent. Carter sat up. Eyes add up. Eyes burning, heart racing. Nari ran to her mother. "Mama." Lyra opened her eyes weakly. "I can rest now," she whispered. Carter stepped back, dizzy. His brain felt different, like something powerful now lived inside it. "She gave it to me," he said. The doctor stepped in. "What?" Carter looked at the stars outside the window. "Now I bury it somewhere no one can ever find." The pain hadn't stopped since the transfer. Carter stood near the edge of the platform, one hand on the cold metal railing, breathing hard. Inside his mind, the hollow code pulsed like a second heartbeat, quiet but always watching the stars. Above, the asteroid outpost looked calm, but Carter knew the storm was coming. Behind him, the doctor whispered to Lyra, checking her vitals. Nari sat close to her mother, still holding her hand, refusing to let go. Carter turned and walked back inside. "It's awake in me," he said. "I can feel it moving, testing me." Lyra's eyes opened slowly. "It won't stop. It will. Keep pushing until it takes your mind or your life." "Then, we don't have much time," Carter said. "Where can I destroy it?" Lyra coughed weakly. "There's only one way. You need to reach the core." "What core?" "The Syndicate's main AI vault. It's where the original version of the hollow code was stored. If you go there and inject the infected data, it will corrupt their system from inside." Carter frowned. "You want me to walk into their headquarters and plug myself in?" "That's the only way," she said. "Once you do, it will burn the code, both theirs and what's inside you." Carter looked at Nari. "What happens to me?" Lyra looked down. "The data could die with you, or it could leave your body broken." Carter nodded slowly. "So either way, I don't walk out." Left the room and stood outside, staring. At the empty space where ships passed like insects in the dark, the pilot walked up beside him, arms crossed. "You really going through with this?" he asked. "Don't see any other choice," Carter said. The pilot sighed. "You're either brave, stupid, or both." "I've been worse," Carter smirked. The pilot handed him a small black case. "Got you something," he said. "Beam peoples. Rifle, ion scrambler, and a neural dampener. It won't stop the code, but it'll slow it if it tries to take over." Carter nodded. "Thanks. I'll fly you there," the pilot added. "One last favor." Carter looked surprised. "Thought you hated hero stuff?" "I do," the pilot said. "But that little girl trusts you, and I owe you more than I like to admit." Inside the medbay, Nari stood quietly as Carter prepared to leave. He knelt in front of her. "You're strong, Nari," he said. "Stronger than anyone I've met." She shook her head. "Don't leave." He smiled gently. "I have to. Your mom gave everything to protect people. I can't do less." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I don't want to lose you too." Carter hugged her tight. "You won't," he said. "Not really." Stood, glanced at Lyra, and gave a nod. She mouthed the words, "Thank you." The freighter cut through space like a shadow. Inside the cockpit, Carter checked his gear while the pilot scanned for Syndicate patrols. "We'll drop you near the maintenance hatch under the vault tower," the pilot said. "The place is locked down with firewalls, drones, and guards." "I've been through worse," Carter replied, as they neared the planet. Alarms flared. "Syndicate ships inbound," the pilot warned. 5 of them, all armed. Carter didn't hesitate. "Get me close. I'll handle the rest." The pilot veered sharply, dodging blasts as enemy ships opened fire. "You better survive this." "Carter," he shouted. "I'll try," Carter yelled back. Already running to the cargo door, he strapped on his oxygen gear, grabbed the case, and waited for the drop light to go green. The moment it did, the door slammed open. Wind roared through the ship as Carter jumped. He fell through clouds of smoke and fire. The Syndicate tower rose beneath him, black and sharp like a blade slicing. The sky. He aimed for the side vents. With a hard thud, he hit the outer platform, rolled, and pulled his rifle. No time to think. Guards spotted him. He opened fire, took cover, and ran toward the inner hatch. His scrambler fried the door lock. Sparks flew. As the door burst open, inside, alarms screamed. The code inside his head reacted. His vision blurred, ears rang, thoughts raced. "Let me out," it whispered. He fought it. "No," he growled. "You die with me." He reached the core room aglowing. Sphere suspended in energy fields. Every camera turned to him. Defense turrets powered up. He leaped behind the control panel. jammed the data injector into his neck, and slammed the transfer key into the console. The world exploded in light. The hollow code screamed inside his mind. He was trying to escape, to survive. Carter held on with everything he had. He forced the virus into the system, watched as the core lights turned red, then black, then pulsed once and died. The room went dark. Carter collapsed to the floor, shaking. Then everything went still. For a long time, there was only darkness. Carter floated in a space with no sound, no weight, no pain, just silence. Somewhere deep in his mind, the hollow code had gone quiet. No more whispers, no more pressure trying to tear him apart. He opened his eyes. The world came back slowly, first the sound of machines, then soft voices, then the light above his face. Blinding at first, but warm. "You're awake," a voice said. It was Nar. Carter turned his head and saw her sitting beside him, eyes wide, holding his hand tight. Her small fingers squeezed his gently, afraid to let go. "You're really awake," she whispered again. Carter tried to sit up. His body ached, but he was alive. He looked around. He was back in the outpost's medical wing. The ceiling above was cracked metal, same as before, but the weight in the air was gone. "What happened?" he asked. Nay, smiled. "You destroyed it." Mom said the signal from the Syndicate tower stopped all at once. Every drone, every server, all dead. Carter nodded slowly. The core melted with the virus. "The hollow code is gone." Lara stepped into the room, walking slowly but on her own. Her skin was no longer pale, and her eyes were clear again. She stopped beside the bed and looked at him. "You've saved us," she said. "You saved everyone." Carter looked down at his shaking hands. "I didn't think I'd make it back." Lara touched his shoulder. "You almost didn't. Your heart stopped twice. The code tried to drag you down with it. But I won," he said softly. "You did," she said. Later, Carter sat outside the outpost, watching the stars in silence. The pilot sat beside him, tossing a small tool in his hand. "So, what now?" the pilot asked. Carter shrugged. "I'm not carrying a deadly AI virus anymore. That's a start." "You could have died," the pilot said. "Would have been worth it," Carter replied. "Lyra's alive. Nari's safe. The galaxy just got a little less broken." The pilot nodded. "Still, you're not done. You just made enemies who won't forget your name." "I'll take that risk," Carter said, "but I won't run." Inside the outpost, Nari walked through the halls, holding a small sketch pad. She stopped at Carter's door and peeked in. He was sitting quietly, cleaning his gear. "I made you something," she said. He looked up. She held out the pad. It showed a simple drawing, 3 figures standing together, holding hands. Go. Man, a woman, and a little girl in between. A bright sun above them. Carter took it gently, staring at it. "That's us," Nari said. He smiled. "Yeah, that's us." In the days that followed, Leora regained her strength. She worked with the outpost techs to make sure the hollow code could never be rebuilt. The Syndicate lost access to all their stolen systems. Their power weakened. Their grip on outer colonies began to break. Carter stayed longer than he planned. He helped rebuild damaged systems, trained guards, and taught Nari how to handle small weapons, not for war, but for defense. One night, under the dim lights of the observation deck, Lyra stood beside him. "You don't have to stay," she said. "The mission is over." He looked at her. "Maybe, but I think I found something worth staying for." She smiled softly. "Nari asked me if she could call you something," Leora said. Carter raised an eyebrow. "What? She wants to call you Dad?" He felt his heart stop, just for a second. No war, no enemy, no explosion had ever hit him harder. "She does. She does," Lara said. "And I don't mind." Carter looked down, then out at the stars again. "I never thought I'd be anything more than a soldier," he said. "Stop fighting." "Now you do," Lyra said. The next morning, the freighter left the outpost. But Carter didn't board it. he stayed. A quiet protector, a new father, and for the first time in years, a man who had something to live for.